The real shop talk. Just come and take a listen. Some grown men with unbiased and honest opinions, and with no agendas, so you just gotta check it. Talking love and life from a male perspective. We keep it authentic, real, no filter. Leave a comment, be part of the show. We here to give you 5 gentlemen's views about manhood, no doubt. This the show you've been needing, yeah, it's the real shop talk. Let's go.
What's up, everyone? It's your boy, Tony Massey. Welcome to Shop Talk Live. The real Shop Talk is on right now. Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. I thought I was. Everybody else is muted. I ain't hear them clapping. It kind of freaked me out. Hey, so if you're here, this is the first show with on our new platform. So wherever you're watching us at, hopefully you're watching us on the Real Shop Talk live page on YouTube. If not, hopefully you're one of the over 600 people in our that's liking our Facebook page. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate you for that. Hopefully that's how you found us. If not, that's how you can find us. The Real Shop Talk Live every Monday night, 8 p.m. 5 brothers, no agenda, talking shop, talking about all the hoods, brotherhood, manhood, fatherhood, all the hoods. We're putting it down quite flat. So, of course, I am Tony Massey. You can find me at Tony Massey Speaks or at Tony Massey Cooks. To my right is the incomparable Mr. Derek Jones. Go ahead and introduce yourself, brother.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. And some of y'all been here since the first one. So we're happy that y'all keep coming back. And anybody that's on here new, welcome. And my name is Derek Jones, and I'm the host of the Relationship Gumbo podcast. And you can, I'm a certified life and relationship coach, and you can find me on www.relationshipgumbo.info, and that's everything is on there, Instagram and all that stuff. But also, like to Tony Massey's, because we all got to keep letting y'all know, make sure you go to realshoptalk.net, where you can find our YouTube page, Instagram page, Facebook page, and just come on in. We got some good stuff for you. So I yield the mic to my man, John Singletary.
What's going on, everybody? I'm the man with all the background noise because my DJ is back here. I think we're getting a little Kirk Franklin right now, so I guess that's a shout out for that stellar win yesterday. But I'm John Singletary, the host of the Help Myself podcast. You can find everything related to the Help Myself podcast at www.thehelpmyselfpodcast.com. I'm glad to be in the building, and I'm gonna take my rightful role as the water boy and let the 4 Avengers do what they do. Holla.
So we're not gonna let him get away with doing that. He is Captain America with us because he puts it down. He's one of the truest brothers we have.
How disrespectful that is, so I forgive them. They know not what they do.
He's such a force behind the scenes with us. He inspires us to do so many amazing things. So I'm Tony Watts. I'm the host of Triumphant TV, where we bring all things excellence to the humane society as far as we're concerned, what we do. I think it's very important that we rebuild the village, and we reframe what how the world sees the Black people. So that's what Triumphant TV is about, to reframe that whole stereotype of we don't do anything and we're always on screen for doing craziness. We are here to show Black excellence at its highest level. And when I say Black excellence, that doesn't negate any other race, because it takes all races for you to be excellent. I tell people all the time, the Underground Railroad could not have happened without the allies of white people allowing us to hide when it was time to hide. You can reach me at I am Tony Watts on IG, and you can reach me at Triumphant TV on YouTube. So we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to yield the mic to probably the most charismatic person on the team. That's Rick Gunther, man. You know, he's so enthusiastic, he's so impressive, so much energy. Let's go. That's
right. I am Gunther, man, from Soapbox Stand Up and Speak, guys. You can find me at Instagram, Soapbox Stand Up and Speak, Facebook, Rick Hoven, Gunter. Gunter, man, if you know me, you know me. Come on, it's energy right now. We're talking energy. We're increasing the energy right now. We only know what we know, and what we know isn't everything there is to know. On my show, The Gunter Man Show, I host every Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. It allows you the opportunity to increase the things that you know, the opportunity to speak your piece, as well as every single week I have somebody new that allows another perspective to be cast out into the universe, believing that people will glean from the truth and, of course, do something with the truth. Because we know when we get information, no matter how hype you are about the show, the event, the talk, or even church, until you start to implement it, you will see no real results. So what we're about here, us five guys, we're all about trying to get results to you, sharing our perspectives with the hopes that it will allow you to see things in a bigger, brighter, more better way of living. All right, TK, yeah.
All right. See, I'm telling you, that brother brings the energy up, man, to a whole nother level, man. It's crazy. So one of the things that we love to talk about here on Shop Talk is relationships. And those relationships could be romantic. They could be the relationship between a father and a son, the relationship between men and other men. But tonight we're talking about a particular relationship that can be very unhealthy. And it's one that I think most Black men can appreciate, understand, and have had this relationship if they're not having it right now. It's a off and on relationship. It's that one that you can't let go. It just keeps coming in and out your life, no matter how many times you try to break up. You never delete this one from your phone. And I'm talking about the relationship, the unhealthy relationship between Black men and stress. Now, I want to make it very clear, and I think I can speak for all the brothers on the panel. I very rarely do, but I think I can in this situation. We are not excluding Black women. Sisters, we know y'all go through it. Trust. We know that y'all go through it, probably more so than anyone, and it's unfair. But tonight we're talking about the relationship, the unhealthy relationship of stress with Black men in particular. And again, this is not to exclude anyone. This is really about understanding the dynamic of that very unhealthy relationship. So I want to get started with a question. And I pose this question to the rest of the brothers on the panel. At what age do you believe that Black men get introduced to stress? And anybody can jump on that one.
I remember that there was a meme going out that said, when was the first time you had a confrontation with a cop? Can I start there? It blew my mind that Black men had stories. 12 years old, 17 years old. For mine was 16 years old, standing at a park, talking to one of my friends, a girlfriend, not a girlfriend, but a girlfriend. We're kicking it. We're just laughing and joking. The cops pulled up and said that a store just been robbed, like maybe a good mile away. And we want to take someone, see if you could be the person. Like I'm in the middle of a laughing and joke. If I just robbed the store, how could I look so casually kicking it with this young lady and laughing and joking? And I was like, okay, all right. They didn't put no cuffs on me. I just got in the backseat of the cop car, like you really didn't have a choice. And he took me to the store. And then I remember the Asian person stepping out the owner's store, looking at me and saying, no. Imagine if the owner of the store hated Black people and just said, it's him. How my life could have been changed. How? So when you talk about what age in America, that could be any age. Because from 10-year-old, 9-year-olds, situations going on in kindergarten, how they treat you there. Come on now, we're talking what age? What age does it begin? Any age. How about there?
I agree 100%. And I want to encourage everyone to, this is an interactive show. Although we have microphones, you are not muted. We want you to get involved. We want you to tell us what you're thinking. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? This is a interactive show. We will read your comments as soon as we can get to them. My story started, I was really young. There was a little store at the corner that my mother would send me to the store, and I'm dating myself now. She'd send me to the store with a note, and the note and enough money where she knew exactly how much change she was going to get. She knew how much everything was going to cost. But the note allowed me to purchase things that a child necessarily wouldn't be able to purchase during that time. But this is a long time ago. This is the 80s, so it wasn't like. But I was accused of stealing, and I didn't do it. And I remember going home and telling my mother that the lady at the store accused me of stealing. And the police were called, and the whole nine, because we went back up to the store. Police were called. She insisted that I stole. And I remember how my mother fought for me, but nobody believed me except for her. And I remember how scared I was because she was my only ally. And the police officer was trying to convince me to admit to something that I hadn't done. Just tell us the truth. Everything's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. And it got to the point where in my mind, I'm starting to, did I steal? You know what I mean? Like, and I was, again, so afraid. Had it not been for my mother being there and advocating for me and never once abandoning the idea that I was telling the truth, I don't know what would have happened. And so I agree with Gunner Man. I think that law enforcement, especially young kids growing up I grew up in South Park, Houston, Texas. Growing up in impoverished areas, the introduction to law enforcement early on is not the same introduction that most kids get. I remember at school, they were having the police came to the school and they were having this fingerprinting drive where they were fingerprinting all the little kids and showing us how they do fingerprints. And when I came home and told my mother, she was like, "You're not doing that." And I remember being so mad at her. This was like third grade, being so pissed off at her. Like, what do you mean I can't participate? Because of course I'm a kid. I'm enamored with the cops. But she knew something that I didn't know, something that I wouldn't learn until years later. That wasn't an act of service per se. That wasn't let me show you the inner workings of the police. They got all those little black kids and all those little Hispanic kids on record.
In the system.
And we hadn't done anything. But had they did something, now they're not looking for an unknown. They were cataloging us in the third grade with the anticipation that at some point these kids are going to commit a crime. And it's easy to say, well, don't commit a crime. But what if you didn't commit a crime, but your fingerprints are there? You just happen to walk out the store as the guy that robs it walked in and your fingerprints are on the counter. Well, it wouldn't be an issue except for the fact that back in third grade, the police came to your school and fingerprinted the whole school to show us something. And that is stressful. Who else?
All right, I'll jump in since we're holding back today.
Little louder, Tony.
So what one of the situations I had was I think I was in 11th grade. I was hanging out with one of my boys, and he had a pellet gun that didn't work. So we said, got in the car, let's take the pellet gun to the hardware shop. Put it in a paper bag, and I had enough wherewithal to say, let me hold it by the barrel and not by the handle. So it's in a paper bag, but of course, back in the day, I had a little afro, believe me, with hair, and I didn't have a shirt on. So we walk into the hardware store, and when we get out, there's some white people walking by us, and I have the gun in the paper bag, but I'm holding the barrel. So we're laughing and giggling like Rick said, walking to the thing. Hey, do you know anybody who can fix this? Da 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 da. Never pulled out the gun. As far as showing the guy at the counter, and he's like, "Oh no, you need certain parts of triggers, this, that, and the other. This is missing. You need to go to a shop that can fix that." So I walk outside while the guy I'm with is buying some stuff from the hardware store. I hear police sirens, and I'm looking down the block. I'm looking around, going, "Oh wow, what's going on?" The cops get out, fully drawn guns, and I'm still looking around like, "What's going on?" Like I have no clue that they're coming for me until they start yelling, "Put the gun down." So I dropped the bag, put my hands up, and I'm like, I'm yelling, "It's a pellet gun. It's a pellet gun." So they grabbed me, harassed me up a little bit. And then one of the cops goes, "Go ask the store owner, did he try to do something?" And I was like, "I didn't do anything. I asked him how to fix it." And so we walk into the store, and the gun owner, the store owner goes, "Nah." They came in very calm. This guy is buying something. He's asking how to fix it. They still put me in a police car. They took me to the to the precinct. And lucky at that particular time, my father worked for the city. So he walks in, and everybody's like, "Hey, Paul, what's going on?" He looks up and he sees me sitting down. He go, "What's he doing here?" And he go, "He had a pellet gun." He said, "If you don't get my son off those chains right now, I'll tear this whole place apart." It's like, "Yo, Paul, we didn't know it was your son." He said, "I don't care. Release him now." And like Tony just said, if I didn't have an advocate, I'd have been up the creek. The owner of the store said he did not come in aggressive. He asked how he could fix it, but they still took it. That's one of my notes I have in here.
Are we good?
I think we lost Tony.
Tony Watts got froze up a little bit. Want somebody to go ahead and move in and help him out?
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about stress or encounters with the cops, yeah, I guess y'all picked the right one, man, because I remember in my neighborhood, we talking late 70s, early 80s, the cops would come around and call us racial slurs so often. I thought it was normal, like I thought that's just how cops dealt with people, growing up, where I grew up, east side of San Antonio. And I remember my first time that I really, really dealt with the cops. It was 8 o'clock. I was 8 years old. And, some stuff had happened in the neighborhood. Somebody got shot. And so we just hanging around like, trying to figure out what's going on. And then the cops just come in and start grabbing people, shaking, calling us names, "Get your ass out of here," the whole 9 yards, man. So like, I think from an early age, in my neighborhood growing up, I mean, I think cops pulled guns on me as early as 11. So, I mean, I've just always felt like that was what the relationship between us and the cops are. And listening to y'all talk about it, I'm thinking, yeah, you got to be thankful for having a family that loved you and advocates and create those atmospheres, because if we got caught up in how we got treated, we might have had like serious depression because of the way the world was. But we were just like, yeah, forget them cops, whatever. But yeah, we didn't have no advocates or anybody. If they wanted to come in, I remember, I think I was 11 or 12, and it was a Saturday morning. They just came and banged on the door and said, "Hey, let us in," and ran in. And I remember they went to the back. I guess they were looking for somebody. They didn't find it, messed up some stuff in the back, and just walked out. Never told us why, didn't know what was going on. And I told my mom about that, and she freaked out because it could have went way worse than that, because they were already in the house. I didn't know what to do. So, I mean, it was common for me growing up.
Damn. Wow.
So I'll say this. I think a lot of time, like the specific stuff y'all talking about, I think that probably started happening when I went to college with the police and those type of things. Like a lot of different instances when I was in college, and just too many to name. But I want to talk about even the bigger picture of in a slight piggyback off of what we talked about when we talked about on the show about emotional incarceration and how we're raised to kind of keep the feelings in. Along with this stress comes a certain level of fear These are things that happen physically to us. You know, the cousin of stress is anxiety. And when we're talking about police, when we're even talking about pressures that our families put on us and the stress that comes along with that, sometimes it's about school and these type of things. And as men, not having safe spaces to kind of have those feelings validated, you kind of gotta hold it in. And I remember not as a kid, but I had a white coworker, and we talk about racial things like we give each other's passes just to learn things. And we were talking about, police pulling us over, and he said, "Oh, I understand exactly how you feel being nervous, with the police coming behind you." He was like, "Yeah, I'm scared to get a ticket too." And I was like, "No, sir. That's not the anxiety that happens." I was like, "You really
No,
don't get
sir.
it. You're worried about
Ticket is a good outcome.
Make it home, man." And that, even let's say something happened as a kid or a teenager, and let's say nothing ever happened until you were 30 or 40, it doesn't go away. It stays there. And so that the point I want to make is that there's a lot of things that happen even when we're young that go unchecked.
Yeah.
And they just kind of sit under the radar. And a lot of times we could be in relationships, we could be in a scenario where there's cops just standing around and that thing just kicks in. And we don't have the mechanisms or the tools to reconcile it. And sometimes that will elicit some behavior that may be out of character for us just to be able to cope with it. So when we're talking about like stress in general, this is just a small segment. Like there's so many, you have to think about it like this. As men, we talk about the emotions, we talk about the police. There's probably a list of other things that's going to come up throughout the show. Imagine having to hold all of that and not having anywhere to release it. What kind of human being are you walking through the planet and having to interact with people? So I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna let you go. We need to. I don't know if you want to do the comments or.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into some of these comments because some of them are really, really good. All of them are good, but some of them are definitely speaking to what we're talking about. So, Mouth So Reckless. This is Samika. She's one of our faithfuls, and Mouth So Reckless is her podcast. So make sure you check that out. She said, many of my friends, it started in elementary with white teachers telling them their dreams were too big or they should play sports. That's huge. And I wish I had it queued up, but there's this commercial that I can't even remember who did it, that they put out just recently where this little kid is throwing a ball with his dad, and his dad basically expands his world and teaches him what his hands can do. And I think that's so important because it can be, I think about that scene from Malcolm X where Malcolm is saying he wants to be, a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. And the teacher's trying to convince him to be a carpenter because Jesus was a carpenter, like his dream was unreasonable. And I think that still happens today. Another one is, same Mouth So Reckless. For many, it starts inside the home. Forgive me if I misunderstood the topic. No, you didn't. You understand the topic really good. You understood the assignment. Stress starts in the home. It starts with unreasonable expectations. It starts with the inability to display innate emotions. I tried my best. I have a 23-year-old son. No, 24. He just had a birthday. 24-year-old son. And I tried my best to never dampen or mute or rob him of the opportunity to feel what he felt and display what was natural of those feelings. It's okay to cry. If you're sad, cry. If you're mad, be angry. You know what I mean? You have a plethora, a full range of emotions. And it is not okay for us as men to tell our sons that they're not allowed to feel what they feel. Because here's the thing, what I learned. Energy is never destroyed.
Transferred.
It's transferred, like Gunner Man said, but never destroyed. So all of that that hurt, that pain, that disappointment, that fear, that's never given an outlet, it's gonna go somewhere. And when it goes wherever it goes, it's not gonna be healthy. So I agree with that comment 100%.
When I think about school, I think about how often we of color are told that we have to be 3 times or twice as good.
Yeah.
3 times or twice as good. So imagine coming home with grades that ain't twice as good.
Twice as good, yeah.
As the
I had that speech. I'm sure everyone had that speech. You got to be 10 times better.
I didn't have the speech, but I know that I didn't also feel the dagger type of expectation, like you better make sure that I don't think I felt that, because when it came to school at a young age, I was full of, I am full of energy. Imagine this as a kid. That's what I'm talking about. Trying to control this. I was constantly distracted. So that whole reading comprehension, I'm like, my mind's all, read what? My mind is thinking all about the balloons, the stuff. I'm all over the place. So now you want me to concentrate? But here is the weird thing. Mathematics, science, physics, off the charts. Yeah. It just made sense to me. So how could reading comprehension make no sense to me? Reading a story and then tell you what the story's about, because my mind is forever racing. Then it comes to mathematics, it just made sense. So I went into engineering. So now going into engineering in college, you think there was a lot of people that looked like me in engineering? Nope. It was me, one other dude in the whole engineering sector of college. Me and one other dude. And that's when you started to really feel the pressure. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That pressure of being twice as good. I remember taking a calculus test because math just made so much sense to me that I was finished a finals in about 35 minutes. Got up and I walked out. The teacher was like you had to cheat. Like, where are you going? Like, no, math is just, it makes sense to me. So everyone else, I'm talking about the whole entire class, everyone's still sitting there. The best of the best are still sitting there, and I'm done. I'm done. I'm getting up and leaving. And I get that look, I get that feeling, I get that question. Stress. Yeah. When I'm not even doing anything wrong. Matter of fact, not only am I not doing anything wrong, I'm dominating. How am I feeling stressed while I'm dominating something?
Love it. I agree 100%. Kicking it with Brother Small. Stress begins with family turmoil and parent separation and divorce. I don't think people, and I speak not from a place of righteousness, but from a place of, truly understanding. I did not realize the impact that my divorce from his mother had on my son until he was much older. And at 16, hearing him tell me how that decision impacted his life, it's like I can't go back in time, but I really thought this was about her and I. And I thought that I could just maintain my role as a father, and that if we could keep things as normal as possible, everything would be okay. No, it put a lot of stress on him, especially since most of his friends, their families were still together. Paul Knotts, and shout out to Brother Smalls. He's another regular. That's a name I recognize. Paul Knotts, I think every Black male has encountered a negative situation with the police, an educator, or I think he's been a person of authority. I agree. And unfortunately, and this goes back to a previous show, when you remove the man from the home, you also remove the child's ability to deal with authority figures, especially male authority figures. I find it fascinating that most young Black men will yield to the authority of a woman faster than they will of a man. Even a man in an authority like a police officer or a judge or, someone who is in an authority role, it's usually a woman who can snap him to attention faster than a man can. Isaac says it's important. Vincent Washington says it's important to be cognizant of feelings so that you're able to work through them. Absolutely. And unfortunately, we don't always get that. We don't always get an opportunity to know what we're. And I want Tony Watts to speak on this because I think if anyone can break this down, he can. Sometimes it's not even about what you feel; it's identifying what you feel. Like I don't even know. I think as men, we put everything in the anger box, right? Because if it feels not good, then that's where we put it at, because that's something that is easy for us to identify. But when you start pulling these things out that anger box and realize this isn't anger, this is something different. I just never really felt I was allowed to feel that. Tony, go ahead and speak on that, man.
Well, I appreciate you lending the stage to me for this particular topic. And I want to back up for a second before I answer that question, because they kind of tie in together about divorce and separation. And we don't disparage women on the show at all. We really talk not at you. We kind of give you some information about how we think to help you guide through it. But I want to talk to women that are single mothers for a second. You got to give me a minute with this one. When you blame the boy, so when we say the first beginning of stress, when you blame the boy for the father leaving, you were doing irreparable damage to the son. I want you to understand that. You're doing something that child did not ask for. Boy or girl, they didn't ask for that stress. And you're putting damage on them by saying you're going to end up like your father. You're no good like your father. Or just treat them a certain way because you have angry toward the dad. All right? I have a 30-year-old son. And we recently, about 6 or 7 years ago, really began to work through what he grew up going through. And I was in his life. Every week I would see him. We'd hang out. Basketball, everything he had, I was there. But I didn't understand the dynamic, because I heard his mom's, what he was going through, until one day we sat down and had that discussion. Here's this young man that's amazing. He's an amazing young man. But he's growing up under these stressors that's not designed for him to go through. It's not his responsibility. Our relationship was not his responsibility. But because we're mad at each other, we put that stress on the children. And I just would behoove everybody out there that have children to really think about that when you're going through whatever you're going through, whatever the hatred is, whatever the disagreements are, whatever's going on, take the child out of it. Co-parent, argue behind the scenes. Never let the child see that, because that's for a Black child, that's a level of distress that they have to go out into the world and deal with. Now let's talk about identifying that, right? When you're dealing with that type of level of stress or that level of disconnection, and why is mommy treating me this way, or why is dad, because dads do it too. It's just not a mother thing. So let me just clear that up. Dads do it as well, because they're mad at moms. You're putting an identifier on them when they don't know what it is. They don't know why they feel a certain way. It could be fear. It could be anger. It could be being afraid. It could be they just don't know. So when they sit one who is a clinical psychologist, and that's why they go back to your childhood, because they have to find out where the problem lies. What is bothering you? What are you hung up on? And a lot of people begin to understand that I'm fearful because my mother put a lot of stress on me, or I'm fearful because I didn't know how to talk to my father. Those are stressors. Understand, when you tell a child that you gave a spanking to that they can't cry, that's a stressor. That is a stressor. So if you tell a black child that he cannot do certain things because he is the splitting image of his father, even though he acts totally different from his father, or she acts totally different from her father, now you're putting stressors on them that they can't identify because they're not that person. We have to begin to take responsibility for that. And I'm really asking you guys that have children, take the children out of your anger equation. They have nothing to do with it. And we can begin to heal our kids better for allowing them to grow up in a safe space. America is not safe as it is. So for us to have a non-safe place at the home, what are we really doing? What are we doing? So I appreciate you putting me on the forefront for that, Tone.
No, and I applaud myself for doing it. Shows how smart I am, you know. I do want to transition from childhood to manhood, and I want to talk about how Black men, especially, how do we, whether it's good or bad, what are the ways that we deal with stress, and how do those methods affect our community, our relationships, our children, or even just the imagery of who we are as men? So, and this is for the healthy brothers, the ones that are enlightened, the ones that are going to therapy, the ones that recognize these things, and also for the brothers who may not truly understand that. Let's speak on how we are dealing with our stress, and how are those methods impacting us globally as far as the Black community is concerned. Anybody can hop in there.
I'm jumping in. Let me jump in. I just had this conversation. Like, you know, in the building that I live in, it's some Black folks in this building, but not a lot. Not a lot. We're definitely the minority here. And, you know, you walk around in this building, it's a lot of white folks, just to be real clear about it, you know. And you kind of do this thing where there's the DJ. You do this thing where you try to kind of tone down your Blackness. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to come off where you're too aggressive or anything. Like, literally, I feel more comfortable and safe walking through my building with my uniform on, because then I have something to point to say, hey, you know, I do something worthwhile. I'm not dangerous. I'm not, even though you think I should be more dangerous with my uniform on, but nonetheless. And then I think about that, how in those spaces, like say I'm on the elevator and, you know, some older white folks in there, you know, hey, how you doing? This weather's crazy. You know, all that pandering that you do. But then if I'm out somewhere, you know, and I see another Black man, and you put on that whole, like, gotta make sure I'm tough, you know, when I'm looking at this brother that's going through the same thing in this world that I'm going through, and then my natural response isn't to love him, isn't to be like, hey, what's going on, my brother? The first thing is competition, like, yo, you know, he gonna try to get at me with it. And you know, I think about that, everything that we've been through puts us in a mindset like that, you know. And to be honest, the people I'm pandering for have historically been more dangerous to my person than my brothers, you know. And so not only is existing like that stressful, but then to think about it and think about all of the brothers that I've walked by. And I mean, me and Tony Massey, we from Texas, so we speak to everybody. But out here on the East Coast, man, y'all don't speak as much. that ain't a thing, man. Like, that's real weird to me. But that's a tangent. But the stress of knowing that, man, how many times did I pass a brother up on the streets and, hey, bro, how you doing, man? What's going on? Good to see you. Might have changed his day, because it ain't no telling what that man might have been going through. So it impacts us how we go through. There's so much good that we can do, but there's so much good that we won't do because of the stress of how we're perceived as Black and how we're perceived as Black men. You know, all of these things. I can keep going on and on, but that's what I got.
I love that, man. I don't want to piggyback too much, because I felt like you very eloquently explained that. But I was in the Navy, and I was stationed in San Diego, which is, there ain't a lot of brothers in San Diego. And I remember that very thing, feeling safer in uniform, because I felt like oh, well, he's okay. He's in the military, so he's okay. And it's such a dichotomous mindset because it's like my uniform represents the warrior, the guy that will fight and kill and do all of these things. But yet it also represents an American identity that in some instances it eclipses my Black identity. So you try to be different. You try to be the not like the others, right? And the reality is that the danger that you face is not even you're like you said, pandering to the people who are actually more dangerous to you than anyone else. And I remember growing up, man, like my father would speak to everybody, and I grew up in Houston, so yeah, it was all right then. How you doing there, bro? I can't call it, And I used to believe that all Black men knew each other. I just thought that was a thing, and I couldn't wait to get old enough where I got access to the Black man database, so I would know all the Black men too. But it was a different time where brothers just even that word, brother, sister, it speaks to a sense of community, a sense of family, of ownership, where we don't have to grow up together, but because we have the same experience as being Black in America, we grew up together. I mean, I've always found it fascinating how you can have Black people who grew up on different sides of the country and still you start talking about certain things. We've all had the big TV on the floor with the little that broke, and then we put the little TV on top of it. We've all had the wooden spoon and fork on the wall as decoration. We all have this very similar experience as Black people, but for whatever reason, when we get outside of it in public, we forget the familial ties that bond us, and that's just the uniqueness of the Black experience. And you're right, we position ourselves. I don't want him to think I'm a punk. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Somebody was going to jump in there.
All the time.
Yep.
Being someone of color is understanding that we're children of the sun. If you never heard that phrase before, children of the sun. We are children of the sun, meaning that growing up in need to be native Africa, need to be the Caribbean through after enslaved Africans. Our focus growing up as a culture, you weren't thinking about how can I get that dollar? How can I get that dollar? Let me explain that. Because being children of the sun, food is readily available. Climb a tree, go get it. Hey, barter. It's real simple. In America, where America started was that there was only seasons that you can grow and do. So that mindset of, I'm not trying to build a community. I'm trying to get what I need to provide for my family because it's only a short period of time. So that's where that word, remember Tony Watts, when I talked about perfunctory, where they just go through the mannerisms of greetings. So, hey, how you doing? And how do you answer that? Hey, how you doing? No one answered the question, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? And you just keep on going. That's perfunctory. You're just going through the practice of it. You don't even care to have a conversation. For people of color from the sun, we are trying to build community because we're not concerned with trying to get food to bring back to make sure because of a short period of time. No, it's hot all the time. You could always get food. Because that was the main thing. How can I get food to provide for my family? So we've been ripped from our nations, brought here to America and learned these how to get mannerisms. So that's why when you have situations where you see another person of color, you forget that you're children of the sun. You're trying to simply build community because you bring any group of people of color together for a particular cause, whether I know you or not. I will hug you like I knew you for days. I will hug you, but you say like you're my first cousin. Everybody here's my first cousin. I crave the connection of community. I crave the reason why we dominate when we get together. Why we dominate is because we're naturally community built people. So what did they have to do when it came to enslaving Africans? Rip us apart. Rip us apart. Take the men and send them one direction, take the wife and children another direction. And you're talking about stress? Stress comes from father not being there because he was ripped away. Father just getting used to the idea that I don't have to be there for my family. And they'll somehow, some way, they'll be taken care of. But that taken care of is abusive. Ripping, raping. We don't want to get there because you'll get too emotional. But think about that. So when you deal with stress, it's not easy. So for us, when we try to find stress, we find hobbies. Hobbies that kind of make us no longer have to think, from video games to playing spades and, like things that'll just allow moments of fun where you can what? Feel community again. Why you think that putting on the thing, Call of Duty, hey, but let's go left, go. Oh, go. Why you think that's? Because you're building community. You're stuck at home. So men will go in their cave and play video games for hours. Men will go into a cave and watch sports for hours. Because so what? So when they get with their boys, they can talk all type of crap about this community, back to community. So when it comes to finding distressors, how do you deal with stress? You find, once again, what you're naturally designed to do because you're children of the sun, community. Community. Any person of color that pulls himself away from a community is bound to fail. And not succeed in the way that it affects the world around them is what I'm trying to say. Because you could pull your weight and succeed as far as monetary, but to have money ain't guaranteeing you joy. To have money ain't guaranteeing you peace. Tony wants to know that. Lived that story. Money for days. I wasn't happy. Wasn't happy at all. I'm traveling the globe. How can I not be happy? I'm traveling the globe. I've been traveling the globe since I was in 11th grade. How could I not be happy? Lacking community. I
love it. Go ahead, Derek.
Yeah, I just want to. Okay, I'm trying to not go too long.
Come on, bro, make some gumbo.
When you ask the question, what do we do about stress? How do we cope with stress? So there's those of us who have healthy ways to deal with it. But I think, as a blanket statement, most of us don't deal with it the way that we should. And so sometimes that shows up as you disassociating yourself with everyone and kind of being by yourself and sitting in it, which is not healthy. Sometimes you cope with it by drinking alcohol or some kind of drugs or anger, right? We know this one all too well, anger, right? And when we talk about what I talked about earlier, sometimes people will have stress and there's one stressor, maybe two. A lot of us are carrying like 20, 30 at one time. How does a human being deal with that?
Yeah.
That doesn't have the tools or has never been shown how to cope with it when we've been trained our whole lives to avoid it. Literally trained and conditioned to push it to the side and deal with it. I'm the poster child for putting it all on my back and saying I got it and I'm gonna handle it. Everybody else, y'all good, cool. I'm gonna worry about me last and we're gonna keep it moving. Not healthy, because at some point I'm gonna have to purge it. Where do I do that? How do I do that? Or I'm a ticking time bomb walking around, snapping at people, maybe doing something worse. If we don't take these things and stress affects our health as well. Black men, we know this all too well too. We know everything about blood pressure and all this other kind of stuff. This don't help. So to Gunter Man's point, sometimes even when you don't know what to do, when you're around other people, you share similar stories, and a testament to a point of like even what we do here. When people hear that there's people out here with like stories, when you're in communal events, doing different things, that energy, the communal energy, sometimes is enough to kind of pick you up a little bit. Even if you're not doing the clinical things that people do to get it, sometimes you need a hug. Sometimes you need to play a game of spades and talk to people and talk. Hold on, let me say that again. Talk to people. I know that's a that's a foreign word these days, but we need each other. And if we're by ourselves and we're dealing with that stress alone, you're talking about men committing suicide at an astronomical rate. We don't purge it. And if we do, we checking out of here by drink. We have to look at, if we don't relieve the pressure in a healthy way, how many people depend on us? We're leaving a completely broken person to have to take care of kids, to take care of your home, your wife, go to work. How do we show up at work? And then the boss is riding or doing whatever. We got to carry all of that with us without the mechanism to know how to purge it. That's why every Friday you can go to a bar and talk to anybody at the bar, and they're gonna say, "Man, I'm only in here because I can't this week, man. Oh my God, I'm just stressed out." Everybody's stressed out every week. That's a problem. That's a problem. I'm a land there, but this is personal. I know y'all can tell this coming from a place. I literally carried the world on my back for so many years that when that thing came off, I didn't even know who I was on the other end of it, because I was like, dang, I gotta take care of myself now. How do I do that? I didn't even know how to do that because I spent so many years worrying about everything else and making sure everything else was good and carrying you got a problem? Let me take your stress too. I'm gonna make sure you good. And on the inside, I'm imploding. It's just, it's not healthy for anybody, male, female, black, white, whatever. But black men got to carry that, plus the racism, plus all this other stuff on top of that. And then leave the house and say, I'm strong and I can handle everything. I don't want to look weak. It's tough. And we got to do it with a smile because we can't cry, right?
Not allowed to cry.
So I'm gonna land there.
So Derek, I appreciate you landing the plane the way you did. My God, I think you are using your technical skills to peek into my notes. So I'm gonna start here. Black men are the most hated in the planet. Black men are the most hated on the planet. So we have to smile when they clutch their pocketbooks. We have to smile when they lock their doors. We have to smile when our own women tell us we're not good enough. We have to continue to smile and not release any of that hurt, stress, and trauma to anybody. We can't tell our boys that we're hurting because he's going to tell you to man up, stop crying. So to answer Tony's question, and I'm going to take this personal. I'm going to do this from a personal aspect. I'm not going to put this on all men. You want to follow me, follow me. The way I used to get rid of my stress and trauma is through violence. And when I mean violence, it's not always physical. Although that we had some friends that we would go to bars and get our knuckles dirty. But it's not always physical. Violence is drugs. Violence is alcohol. Violence is sex. Violence is the jokes we tell. Yo, dude, I'll punch you in your face. Yo, dude, I'll do this, that, and the other to you. Why are we talking in joking manner that should be humorous in a physical, violent way? Because we have nowhere to release the stress and trauma that we feel. So we find ways to do it that way. So you have to really understand when we start talking about stress of a black man, just imagine for a second, the whole world hates you. The whole world hates you. And it's not because, I can go into the reasons why, and that's a whole different topic. But today I saw a news thing where a young 18, 19-year-old soccer player in Europe was being hugged by his I believe it's his coach. It's because the whole stadium was calling him racist names
Yeah, Sterling.
for the sport he loves to play. He's being called racist names for the team that he chose to play for. The stadium at home is calling him racist names. Why? Because his skin is black. I don't, and like we said, we'll never take anything away from the black woman or the woman who go through the stresses and traumas that they go through. But this black skin that I'm in is different.
Yep.
It's different.
It's definitely different.
It's different. We don't have an outlet because women can get together with their girls and they could say, hey, let's, girl, you can cry, girl, you can, but no, I can't, and until recently, I couldn't go to my friends and just start crying in front of my friends. What? No, I had to get on the West Side Highway and drive 200 miles an hour to get my stress going. I had to go and find somebody to want to punch in their face to get my stress relief off. All of those are dangerous things, putting myself in dangerous situations just not to be stressed out. So when we talk about stress, right, we have to talk about from a level of how it hurts people across the board. So stress hurts your heart. Stress increases diabetes. Stress increases blood pressure, cancer. When your body releases too many stress hormones, your body then begins to attack things that are not really there. Those causes cancers. So there's so many. No wonder black men are the least on the scale of life longevity. We're at the lowest totem pole because we don't know how to release our stress. How many black men have you heard retired and died within 2 to 3 years after they retired? Because their job was all they had. Think about that. You had nowhere else to go but your job. The job that the dude at the job stressed you out so much, but that was the only thing that you had that made you feel worthy or made you feel like you was worth anything because I gave you the opportunity to provide for your family. And then you don't have that anymore. And the time, their golden years when you should be traveling and enjoying your life, you don't have anything else because you come home, nothing, and you die. Or talk about the highest rate of suicide. It's us, men, because we don't have a space to let it go. And that's why we're having this conversation. We're having this conversation to let men know that you have a space to let it go. You have a space to talk to people. Everybody on this call are doing some type of life coaching, some type of communication. If you reached out to any one of us and you needed to talk, we will talk to you. And if we didn't have the ability to help you through, we know people that can do that. Like I see two different psychiatrists myself. One of them is Larry. Larry, he's my dude. He walks me through things in a way that no other therapist I've ever sat down was able to walk me through. He's able to show me things and be like, yeah, Tone, you did that. And that's important because if I was able to record my life between, let's say, now and the last 10 years, my friends literally ask me, how are you doing this? How are you still walking? Because I have a place to let it go, and I have a big God that I serve. So those are the two things that I just want to give you guys before we wrap this thing up. It's this stress thing is real. This stress thing is real.
There's even stress when it comes to even when you succeed in business, because oftentimes you think you make it, now you're good to go. You made it, finances, you're good to go, right? But no, how about I'm springboarding off of what Tony Watts says, as you travel the globe, the world is really different, sees you really different than everyone else. Meaning that you'll hear about stories. Oh, you need to go to, I'll use my example. This is my story. You need to go to Thailand because in Thailand, boy, the smiles on everyone's face is just imagine that they're enduring. They'll make you feel wanted and loved. And this, now this is coming from one of my close friends who's originally from Spain, but he looks white. White guy. He talks about how amazing, how amazing, how amazing, how amazing. Well, when I got to Thailand, I got stone face. Wait, where's all this love? Now, when I say stone face, it's not my own imagination. I'm literally seeing people go from a conversation they might be having from a distance, get to my presence, face gone. I walk into a club, my buddy's in front of me. We walk into a club, the people see him, there's a whole light up. As soon as I step to the left, they can see me, faces drop. So now you're interacting with the world globally. So you're meeting people. You're starting to feel love, and you're vibing with people of different colors. Now you connect with people, Asian, Indian, white, and you can't go home to them. They could date you, but you can't go home. They can't take you home. Think about that. I've dated you can't just go home. No, like my parents would not accept you. You know how many times I've heard that? I grew up a dancer. I've been traveling the globe since 11th grade. So I would meet and connect with people, and they're like, I can't. I remember I met this girl on a cruise ship from Dubai, and you couldn't tell me the feelings weren't real. And her sister pulled her aside, says, "You can't bring him home. You can't bring him home. You can't bring him home. Asian girl, I can't bring you home to my mom and dad. You're talking about you make it, you want to travel. The world doesn't see you as that success. They see your color first. Talking about stress, you made it. Now no stress, real stress as you travel the globe, stress.
So I if I can be transparent,
please.
And I very rarely tell this story because me and him had such a very tumultuous relationship. But my biological father, I didn't meet until I was a lot older, and we never really clicked, right? And it's crazy because we look so much alike, to the point where if you saw us side by side, it's like me and my son. If you ever saw a picture of me and my son, it's like, yeah, you ain't denying that one, bro. That's the light skin you, But he took his own life. And what I remember being so shocking was his funeral, standing room only. I mean, to the point where people were literally standing outside the door of the church. This was a nice sized church. This was not a small little country church. This was a nice sized church in Houston. There were so many people there, so many people who wanted to speak, so many people who wanted to just be there to pay their last respects. And it spoke volumes to me, because here's a man who had reached a point in his life where he saw no value in the possibility of tomorrow. And obviously didn't feel that there was anyone he could reach out to and lay these burdens at their feet so that he didn't have to carry them. So much so that he decided, today is the last day I want to even have access to this gift called life, this present called the presence. But the funeral was standing room only. I mean, you couldn't find a seat anywhere in there. And so I myself, when I was young in the Navy, I had done 3 tours at this point. I suffered from PTSD really bad. I had a broken marriage. I was in a very dark place. And I too made an attempt on my life. And what I walked away from that, first thanking God that he spared me. But I remember this conversation. He hates it when I tell this story, but I remember this conversation that I had with my uncle, who was the father that I needed always. though that wasn't his role. And we talked about this last show, that sometimes you have to be that surrogate. Sometimes you got to stand in the gap. But he said something to me that not only resonated with me, I put it in my pocket and I carry it with me faithfully. And he told me, just because you're lonely, that doesn't mean that you're alone. And that was such a profound statement for me, because in that moment where it's just me and my decision of whether or not and again, when we talk about suicide, we're not talking about just killing yourself. We're talking about being in a moment so devastating, so traumatizing, so painful, so hurtful, that the possibility that tomorrow will clear it up or that you'll have a different perspective doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It's so heavy in the moment that all you want to do is put it down, even if that means surrendering everything. I mean, think about that. It won't get fixed. That's where I was. And my uncle's words changed my life, because it put the onus on me to reach out and say, I need help. I'm scared. I'm lonely. I'm hurt. I need you. And in that moment, I probably was around, I was late 20s, early 30s. I made it my business to intentionally put people, especially men, in my life that I could be accountable to, that I could, here it comes, submit to their leadership, submit to their mentorship, submit to their ability to call me out, excuse my French, on my bullshit. And it changed my life. I no longer needed to, there's this saying that if Atlas can't shrug, Atlas, the God that holds the world in his, and so many men have adopted this mindset as a good thing, as we're supposed to struggle. We're supposed to, manhood is about pain. Man is about struggle. Manhood is about, no, it's not. It isn't. We were not created for that. And anyone who tells you that is a liar. Yes, there are a lot of wonderful stories, triumphant stories that start and are rooted in pain. But the story is not about the pain. The story is about the ability to endure and know that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And when God said it is not good for man to be alone, he wasn't just talking about Eve. He was talking about everybody else. And Gunter Man said it, community. We have to get back into community. As Black men, we owe it to ourselves. We owe it to our children. We owe it to the Black women out there. They need us. I'm so sick of the conversation about what Black women are doing wrong. When Black men can't agree on simple things like what color you can wear, or how to carry yourself, or just to be sad. I mean, do you understand how liberating it is to just be sad? To have more than one emotion in your arsenal, to not have to go somewhere privately and weep because I've heard people say there's only two reasons to cry, and one is a death. That's crazy to me. There's a lot of reasons to cry. It's a healing. It's the body's everything. We wash everything we want clean with water. So it makes sense to me that our emotions would be treated like everything else we clean. Why do we turn off the water when it comes to our emotions? It doesn't make sense to me. And Tony Watts is right. There's a loneliness in being a Black man because everyone's afraid of us, including us. We're afraid to approach each other. We're afraid to love each other. We're afraid to show emotions to each other because we're afraid that someone is going to take our manhood or question our manhood because I told a brother, I love you. I'm so tired of hearing that debate about kissing your children. My son is 24. I will kiss him on the face, on the forehead, anywhere I want. I made this person. I love this person more than life itself. And you're disparaging me as a man because I'm showing emotion for something that I created, something that came from me, something that looks like me, something that I imparted all of this wisdom and love and all of this in. I can't kiss him. That makes me less of a man. That's stress. Stress to me is trying to follow all these stupid rules that mean nothing at the end of the day. Because if you follow the rules, all you end up with is repression, oppression, depression, suppression. And I'm saying to brothers out there, find yourself some accountability partners. Do not leave this earth without identifying at least one person, someone who looks like you, preferably, who you can call in the midnight hour and say, brother, I am alone. I am scared. I am fearful. I am hurting. I am in pain. I thank God every day that he spared me. I thank God every day that he's... I can't imagine. Yeah. I just can't imagine all I would have missed out on. My beautiful wife, seeing my son graduate. Just Tuesday. Tuesday was so amazing. And I would have missed out on that because I thought that being lonely meant that I was alone. And damn it.
Amazing.
Hey man, you can't start today. I'm gonna start.
Yo, listen.
Right there.
Yeah, it's time for us to get past all this, man. Our communities need us. We need to be leaders. And in order to be leaders, we have to first lead our own emotions. We can't, so many brothers want to be in charge of things. You're not in charge of your own emotions. You're not in charge of your own feelings. You're not in charge of your own life because you have to go into a closet somewhere and cower to feel. But yet we have the audacity, the unmitigated gall to start talking about black. I don't want to talk about black women right now.
Nope.
I want to talk about how are you dealing with your stuff?
Yeah.
If you were to find the perfect black woman for you, the perfect woman for you, could you handle it?
That's right.
Could you deal with everything that she brings to the table? Because here's the thing. Some of the stuff she's bringing to the table, only you can fix.
Yep.
But how are you going to fix it if you don't have the tools in your toolbox just to deal with it? We got brothers walking away from relationships, not because they can't fix it. I can't deal with this. It's too much.
Right.
It's too much drama. What? You're supposed to be the anchor, man.
Because I can't emotionally express myself to her. I feel I can't emotionally express myself to her.
Right.
But Tone, man, like I'm with you 100%. Like my emotions, I'm trying to hold back as best as possible. Because you began the conversation when you talked about your dad. You were like, he talked to everybody. Like he said hi to everybody.
Everybody. Yeah.
And the fact that having the ability, and again, I'm dealing with myself, so excuse me, having the ability to speak to people, right? And to pour yourself out. And not have a place to give that back, right? And then you say, I have nothing else to give, so I don't want to live anymore. Do you understand how heavy that is? This man said his father spoke to everybody. And to make it a point, everybody he spoke to showed up for his funeral. But he had nowhere to go. You got to stop and think about that sometimes. Think about why these young boys is out here wilding out and going crazy, because they have nowhere to go. The world is telling them that they got to go shoot, they got to go murder, they need to have 85 whores. This is what the world is telling them. And we've given up on them, so we don't correct them. We feel that it's not necessary to correct them. I was at a friend's house the other day, and while her and I was talking outside our house, people were walking back and forth. And I spoke to everybody who walked by. She said, I need you to stop doing that. I said, I'm not going to. And a couple of days later, she said, oh, now I see why you do that. I want them to know, I want everybody to know I'm safe. I'm safe. You're safe. We live on this planet together. And until, I wrote this a long time ago, and I've said it on this show before. When when men go crazy, the women and children are soon to follow. The madness that we see in the world today is because we have not shown up for decades. Good, bad, or indifferent, we have not shown up. And we got to stop it. We got to stop it. We got to sit down and have these hard conversations with each other. We got to say, dude, like what you're doing it's not right. Because what I'm noticing is this, right? We've given, rightfully so, women such a platform to have conversations, right? That sometimes they go to the extreme. So there was a post today, and in the post, the man was saying that he was comparing his daughter buying a cell phone, right? And then getting a cover for it. And because she thought it was valuable and precious, he turned around and said, I need you to feel the same way about yourself. The girl's comment was, this is rape culture. You want her to cover up because you don't want her to be raped. And I was like, whoa, time out. I see where you're coming from, but from a dad's perspective, no, I want to show you your value. Because from a man's perspective, I know certain ways that you dress, the person that's looking at you does not see your mind, does not see your personality, does not see your soul first. So therefore, if I can get you to do this, then maybe they can see how precious you are to me and how precious I see you as. So it's not only about being a rape culture type thing. And somebody jumped in and said, oh, he's mansplaining, and I was like, yo, you have to stop taking these terms out of context. We're talking about the story. We're not talking about what somebody said. I didn't try to explain to the girl what she was saying. I was showing a different perspective, so I'm not mansplaining. So what we have to do is come to the table, right? And when I say come to the table, I mean that there needs to be a Black coalition that sits down and have real conversations with each other and say, we're not trying to hurt you. The 5 men here and the men that I know, like my man Paul Knox, great dude, incredible dude, been my friend forever. My cousin James Stork, people's forever. I know great men. I know way more great men than I know bad men. So when I get when I get to saying that men are this, that, and the other, I don't know who you're talking about, and I'm not going to let you talk that way about them. I refuse to. Because I know stand-up guys. My best friend, stand-up guy. The men of Legacy Empowerment Group, stand-up men. We go out in the streets, we talk to young boys, we talk to young girls and tell them how they should operate in this world. So when you tell me a man has to do this, that, and the other, I'm gonna call you bluff 9 times out of 10. Stop putting us in the corner and telling us who we're not, and let us be who we are. I said this the last show that we had. Men and women are more alike than they are different. But we have come to separate our differences and make them way bigger than they're supposed to be. We are more alike than we are different. We want more of the things than we want something different. And the powers that be understand, if this Black community comes together and gets together and unifies for the next few generations, the Bible says a good man leaves wealth to his children's children. Imagine if we adopted that mentality as a family, as a unit. Game over. So we're going to say to Black men right now, stop allowing yourself to be stressed out. Find people that you can get with, as Tony said, that hold you accountable, that you can talk to about when you feel depressed or you feel you break up with your girl and you hurt and it hurts you. Let's go talk about that. Let's shut girls down for 3 months to 3 to 6 months and heal. Figure out what you did wrong and heal before you go back out there trying to stack up again. Let's do that work. Let's do that work. I think, dude, man, listen, I love each and every one of you on this panel right now, man. You guys have no idea. You guys are fantastic. You guys are amazing.
Man, good luck trying to shut down girls for 3 to 6 months, man. Good luck.
Hey, you can't fix a problem with a problem. I'm just saying.
You're right. I'm messing.
We had go ahead, Derek. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know we had time. I just wanted to share one quick thought that I had just about the topic about stress. And I was thinking about like all of the years where I never felt safe to try to release it or talk to people about it. And there's one word that came to mind while I was listening to all of you. I didn't do it, not even because I didn't know how. It's because I felt like it would be a burden on someone else if I shared what I was going through. And so even though I wanted to, I knew what to say, I didn't want to burden. So I kept it in and kept hurting through it. And you go through life in your schedules and you never really resolve it. And then more of it comes and you just compact it all because you don't want to bother someone or burden them, or you don't feel safe because maybe, we go through our lives having it shut down so much that if we share it, they might shut us down again. So I'm fearful that might happen. So even if someone's receptive, and I know a lot of times people in relationships go through this a lot, and I hear a lot of women saying, well, I'm asking him, I'm giving him a safe space, and he's still not doing it. It's a fear that I'm either going to be a burden on you, or you're going to react to me in a way that I've dealt with all my life. And that's why a lot of times we always hear about people saying, I can't get through to this person. I don't know how. Why won't they let me in? It's a scary place. And I know this is kind of a little bit about what we talked about before, but it goes hand in hand. If you can't express your emotion, it's automatically going to give you stress because you can't let it go anywhere. And so I just wanted to put that word out there. Burden. You will always feel like that if you never try. You have to try. And sometimes if you try and it goes on deaf ears, you did let it out, right? Sometimes you just got to let it out. And that's the key. And if you keep moving forward, being around people that won't allow it, you got to change your circle.
That's what I was just going to jump in and say.
So yeah,
I'm done. Your people. Find your people. Find your people. If you keep doing the same thing and nothing is changing, try something new. God has not so designed us to live in this world alone. He has built a household. Our job is we are supposed to lean on each other. Two are better than one. You're supposed to lean on each other for strength. There's strength in numbers. That's right. Strength in numbers. So that's what we do. With this leaving wealth for the generations to come is getting the people of color to believe in and to continue building a community, a safe place for us to share our thoughts, to be ourselves. Because understanding, when I meet with my clientele, because I'm a relationship life coach, when I meet with my clientele, we're not talking about the past. We're not talking about the future. We're just simply trying to find out what is. Not good or bad, not right or wrong. We simply want to know what is. What is going on in your head towards regarding this, regarding that? Because when it comes all down to it, how you feel about yourself, and if you dare to live your truth, is the thing that changes everything in your life. The way you deal with the world and the way that the world deals with you. You have a healthy respect for yourself. You have a healthy appreciation for who you are and what you bring, as we say, to the table. You know, there is power in that. You might want to be able to blame everyone else for being the way you are, but there's no power in that. There's no power in blaming someone else for you being the way that you are. No matter how horrific some of these things that could have happened to you and been done to you, it still comes down to, what are you doing with it? Are you daring to get the help? Are you willing to say it out loud so you can hear someone else's perspective? Because if you only live off of what you've experienced, you'll never grow. There is no growth. There is no growth unless you get new information. And then when you get new information, what you have to do with the old, you got to let it go. You have to learn how to let it go so you can grow. Let it go so you can grow. And then the second thing you do after you let it go so you can grow is get yourself involved with people that allow you to see the brighter side of life, where they will just cause you to have a paradigm shift by saying one thing that just allows the thing that you've been sitting in, the muck and mire in your mind, you've been sitting in so long that you have allowed yourself the opportunity to hear a new perspective that allows a release. Allow a release where you now can see that situation in a completely different way. So don't keep it in. I beg of you, don't keep it in. Call me if you want to hear a perspective. I spent my life going through ups and downs, and I'll be damned if I'll be selfish enough not to share it to heal you.
Well, all right. I think those are great parting words. We're almost at an hour and a half. Wow, man. We're gonna need to get us a golden tissue and just pass it around for every episode that Brother Cross.
Wait, Derek, where's your red flag, Derek?
Yeah, I love it, man. And for those of you who are listening to the show, and first of all, thank you, and for everyone who commented. Thank you for everyone who is listening, who is watching. We appreciate you. If you enjoy this type of content, the way this whole thing works is the internet will reward content that is enjoyed by people who watch it. So we're asking you right now, if you're watching this and you enjoyed it, please go to realshoptalk.net. All of our links are there, all of our individual links, the links to our Facebook page, our Instagram page, our YouTube page. Let's build a community around men being transparent, men speaking truth to power. We can fight the misogyny, the sexism, the toxic masculinity. We can fight it with conversations like this. So don't just watch, share, subscribe, let them know this is the kind of content we want. That way we can keep putting it on for you, because I absolutely enjoy it. So let's go around the table, let everybody know where they can find you. Let everyone know what you got going on. And then we'll go ahead and close out tonight's show.
All right, I'll go first. Again, my name is Derek Jones, host of the Relationship Gumbo podcast. And that actually every Wednesday, 8 p.m. You can tune in, go to relationshipgumbo.info, and it'll point you everywhere you need to go. And I'm gonna be here every single Monday with these gentlemen. And we just gonna keep pushing this thing, man. This is amazing. Everybody that's on here tonight, if y'all didn't feel this, I don't know what to tell you. But this thing right here, there's some magic going on here. Just keep coming back. It's gonna get better and better and better and better every week. So keep coming back, and make sure you share this with anybody that you think need to hear this. Share, let them know that they need to link up and get the notifications and subscribe and follow everything, because we're gonna keep coming at you. So that's all I got. I'm gonna yield the mic to Mr. Singletary.
Appreciate you. Everything he said, I'm out. No, no, this is man, hit the like, subscribe, keep watching, because we definitely want to build on this. This is magic. I am so glad that Tony Watts saw favor in me and invited me to join this amazing collective. I'm just so glad to be here. These difficult conversations, but necessary. And I think the golden handkerchief or whatever belongs to me because I started it. So, you know.
The official tissue.
I like
the
to be
official
first
tissue.
I need to be first in something. But no, everything I got going on is one-stop shopping, www.thehelpmyselfpodcast.com. You can find all my social, everything that's going on there. We got some upgrades to the website coming up this week, but I might not be on here every Monday because I'm gonna be somewhere on some tropical island sipping on a fruity drink maybe one weekend, you know. So I might have to take that week off, but I'll let y'all know in advance, you know what I'm saying? But now I'm gonna go down to the force of nature, Gunner Man, that is right below me. I don't know. Am I pointing up?
Hey guys, what's up? What's up? I am Gunter Man from Soapbox Stand Up and Speak. Please join me at Soapbox Stand Up and Speak on Instagram, or you can find me on Facebook at Rick Gunterman Gunter. Of course, I'm a relationship life coach. You know, I've dedicated my life and using every single bit of my life to hopefully to lead, to steer, to direct, to warn, to guide you in a way that you can now believe in yourself. To get to a place where you can see the love that you automatically are. You are already love. And all you're looking for in life is an opportunity to display your love, to show your love, to reveal your love. So when you connect with someone, all you want from them is for them to do the same. To do the same, where there is no pressure, where you are expecting someone else to meet your needs. No, they can't be your happiness. They can't be your peace. They can't be your form of victory, but sure as hell can be people that can join in and celebrate your life, celebrate what you do, and of course, add to it. Add to it. That's what we're here for. My life is not my own. So if you ever get to the place where you have no way out, come to me. Lean on me. I believe I'm strong enough. If you come my way, God has built me to help you. Oh, my man, of course, T1000 Watts is in the building. That's right. Passing it over right there. There you go, right there. Tony Watts.
Well, T Massey, can you just put up our website link, please? Listen, just go there. You can find me on all platforms. There. I really want you to go there because you can find us all there. It's real important to push this narrative forward because right now this world is in a very dangerous place. The Bible says in the last days that people will take wrong for right and right for wrong, and we're seeing that. We're seeing a lot of things that just don't make a lot of sense, and people are really having tough arguments around garbage, like real garbage. And I would really ask from the bottom of my heart that whoever's listening to this now or in the future, can we get away from the combative language and really start having real conversations? Let's mansplaining. Let's put that on the floor. Let's hear somebody out first before we label them what they're doing. Toxic masculinity. Let's really see what that looks like before we just put a term on it. There's a lot of terms out here that are stopping conversations that need to be had, but you automatically put up a defense when you put these strong labels on things without really diagnosing if that's really what it is. I'm not saying that it's not. What I'm saying is give it a chance to diagnose it for what it really is. Just don't jump in and just go, oh, that looks like this. Hey, that's what that is. Let's stop doing that, because until we can come to a place where we can talk to each other, we're not going to excel to the place where we need to be. And I think that's the important thing that we need to do is come to a place where we need to be. I'm a village guy. When I put this group together, it was about the village. My platform was moving, steady and growing by itself. But I was sitting down and I had a conversation with, the big man, and it was like, why are you doing this by yourself? Like, sure, you can get it done by yourself, but there's a whole bunch of great people around you that are doing the same thing, that are like-minded. And I know them all, right? So why not put them together and create a team that could that put this forth. And as you can see, we don't all agree on everything. I just want to put that out there. We do not all agree on what the things that we say, but we do agree that things need to change. We do agree that men stepping up is a part of that change, a huge part of it. So that's why we're having these conversations. And it's important that you understand that and you follow us. Again, it's right there on the screen, realshoptalk.net. Go there. You can follow all of us. Today, I went out and tagged, I don't know, 40, 50, 80 of my people in my contact list and said, come on, come look at us. Because I think what we're saying is pretty powerful and pretty important. I love you all. I'll see you next Monday, God willing.
So that's it. Real Shop Talk. Well, another episode is in the bag. If you have missed any of the episodes, they're all on our YouTube page. Again, realshoptalk.net is the spot for all of our links, for all of everything that we're doing. Every Monday night, we're right here, and so should you be. 8 p.m. Eastern. We're just chopping it up. You know, this is how we do it. What you saw tonight is what we do every Monday night. So if you enjoyed it, I want you to follow us, subscribe to the channel, and share. Tell somebody. Don't watch it alone. And again, thank you for everyone that tuned in tonight. Thank you for everyone that dropped your comments. We really appreciate it. If I wasn't able to get to your comment, I really apologize, but it will be on the replay. So make sure you go back to the very beginning and check it out. Oh, you got something else?
So real quick before you go out. When is your next cooking show?
So I don't have a date yet for the next one, but I'm gonna put that together and I'm gonna put it out there. So make sure you're following me because that's where I'll put it out. Tony Massey Cooks. All right. Anything else? Any save rounds? Then we out.
Bro.
Yeah, the Real Shop Talk. Just come and take a listen. Some grown men with unbiased and honest opinions, and with no agendas, so you just gotta check it. Talking love and life from a male perspective. We keep it authentic, real, no filter. Leave a comment, be part of the show. We here to give you 5 gentlemen's views about manhood, no doubt. This the show you've been needing, yeah, it's the Real Shop Talk. Let's go.
Another